Alfredo Anatalio Cuaresma Sr. was born on July 3, 1927 in Koloa, on the island of Kauai, in the territory of Hawaii. His father, Fernando Borja Cuaresma, was a sakata, a term used for a Filipino contract laborer. He worked in Hawaii's first sugar mill at Koloa Sugar Plantation. Alfredo's mother, Bernardina Tabua de la Cruz Cuaresma, made and sold kankanen, or Filipino pastries, and washed laundry from sugar workers to help earn money.
In 1930, at 2.5 years old, Alfredo and his family returned to the Philippines because sugarcane plantation life was hard and dangerous. Alfredo was born in the aftermath of a failed Filipino strike, which resulted in the little-known but notorious 1924 Hanapepe massacre. The strikers were marching through the town of Hanapepe on their way to Lahui in order to present their demands to plantation officials for better pay, safe working conditions, and health care.
They encountered an ambush in Hanapepe where 16 Filipino strikers and 3 police officers were killed in a chaotic shootout. Years after the 1924 Hanapepe massacre, workers spied on workers and reported complaints to officials who were intent on preventing any future strikes. No one could be trusted. So returning to Bacra, Cadaratan, Ilocos Norte in the Philippines was a hopeful prospect.
There, Alfredo's mother's De La Cruz family had land on which they could raise their children, grow food, and tend to farm animals for a better start of their family life. But by the time Alfredo was 14 years old, World War II broke out in 1941. His mother, Bernardina, told the story of how they fled to the mountains to hide when the Japanese military occupied their barrio.
She returned home to look for her missing son, Alfredo. She found him crying. He was with their cow. He didn't want the soldiers to eat his cow.
She beckoned him to cross the dirt clearing and run with her to the safety of the mountains. As he ran toward her, machine gun bullets were flying. They kicked up dust from the ground but missed him, and they made it to safety. In 1947, after the war, Alfredo returned to Hawaii and worked in the sugarcane fields and sugar mill.
In 1997, he retired after 47 years as an electrician's helper in Oahu Sugar Company's electric shop in Waipahu. He repaired water pumps located in tunnels and wells in the Waianae Mountains and sugarcane fields.
He maintained electrical needs of plantation camp houses for the workers. He replaced light bulbs atop the iconic sugar mill smokestacks. "Plenty steps to climb up there," he laughed.
He was one of the last old-timers kept on before Oahu Sugar Company closed down in 1995 after the last sugarcane harvest in nearly 100 years. Alfredo's knowledge of where all the electrical boxes were located was valued in order to disconnect them.
In his 47-year work career, Alfredo always had a full-time job and multiple part-time jobs. He did yard work for Eva plantation managers. He worked as a fry cook for Scotty's Drive-In in Pearl City and a waiter for Copper Kitchen in Waikiki, as well as at the airport's Host International restaurant.
In his retirement years, Alfredo worked at a bakery in Waipahu, bussed tables and washed dishes at Kenny's Restaurant and People's Cafe in Nu'uanu, and drove cars back to airport rental car businesses. He also had a busy junkyard business for used car parts and recycling scrap metal. In March 1950, Alfredo married Cecilia Manuel Guillermo.
They had 5 children: Alfredo Jr., Charlene, Laurel, Darna, and Dorinda. But 13 years later, on August 13, 1963, Cecilia died of kidney disease.
Alfredo was grateful for Cecilia's family, Tinang and Dinong Lopez, Frederico and Marta Manuel, Joseph and Mary Manuel, Rose and Atong Estioco, Margaret and Ernesto Enriquez, and Paseng Manuel Kipaa. They helped care for his children during her illness and hospitalizations, as well as after her death.
Because Alfredo was a Hawaiiano, or born in Hawaii and raised in the Philippines, family reunification was made possible under U.S. immigration laws. So in the mid-1960s, he sent for his family in the Philippines to come to Hawaii. His sister Florida, mother Bernardina, father Fernando, and brother Edison lived with Alfredo in Waipahu.
His brother Doring lived in Kalihi Valley with their cousin Shaning Kajente and her family. His sisters Leonora and Estelita came to Hawaii with their husbands. Alfredo's brother Roding also came to Hawaii years later. So, Alfredo's U.S. citizenship was the family key to doors of opportunity to improve their lives for future generations in America.
In 1992, Alfredo was baptized into the Seventh-day Adventist Central Church in Nu'uanu and married Estefania Guillermo Calma, the mother of their daughter Allie and stepdaughter Madeline. They enjoyed their strong church community of Seventh-day Adventist school events for their grandsons Andrew, Zachary, and Christian. They loved their Bible study, prayer groups, church campaigns, health education programs, and fellowship luncheons.
When he was diagnosed with prostate, lung, and colorectal cancers, Estefania doubled down on her conscientious care of her husband. It was her God-given grace of patience and love, her gifted Ilocano cooking, and her talent for creating an inviting home and Filipino garden that sustained Alfredo's cancer survivorship for many years to come. They went to Chinatown and Mauna Kea Marketplace to shop for pompano fish, fruits, and vegetables, especially Alfredo's paria, or bitter melon leaves and fruit, with their superfood healing qualities.
Alfredo loved buying balut from his cousin's Filipino store, Jimmy's Produce. Balut is a Filipino term for a boiled-in-the-shell fertilized developing egg embryo, which is prized for its rich protein and calcium. Charlene and her husband Jean helped their stepmother Estefania with caregiving through Alfredo's years of multiple surgeries, life-saving treatments, and medical appointments. Alfredo was very grateful for his niece, Carol Manuel Fujioka, who is the granddaughter of Gabriel and Antonia Manuel.
She is a Kaiser Medical Center head nurse who oversees post-surgery care. Because of Carol, he had the best medical care. But in spite of this, Alfredo was keenly aware of the disparities among hospital staff. So when Alfredo was discharged from the hospital, he did not hesitate to join striking Kaiser maintenance workers and medical assistants on the picket line, many of whom were from his hometown in Baccara.
They emptied his trash can and swept and mopped the floors in his hospital room. They scheduled his medical appointments. These workers were striking for safe working conditions and to have the right for union representation by Unite Here, Local 5. More importantly, Alfredo supported their advocacy to lift the minimum wage, so they wouldn't have to work more than one job to support their families, as he did.
They won their union negotiations. Sister Allie, her loving husband Lenny, and their children Andrew, Zachary, and Christian took on the caregiving role when Charlene and Jeannie moved to Las Vegas to be with Chris and his family. Alfredo and Estefania then moved to Kailua to live with Allie and her family. They enjoyed their lovely home addition, which Allie and Madeline designed and had constructed adjacent to Allie and Lenny's house.
Alfredo said, "Thanks be to God, I was blessed to have 93 years of life." He said it was God's bonus, as today's average lifespan of males in America is just 79 years. In closing, Alfredo and Estefania loved visiting their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren in their retirement years. Here's to celebrating his joy of life and love of family.
Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not, 'cause the dreams bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Close to the ones here today, close to the ones that we lost on the way, 'cause the dreams bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back you. There's a time that I remember when I did not know no pain, when I believed in forever and everything would stay the same. Now my heart feels like December. When somebody say your name, 'cause I can't reach out to call you, but I know I will one day. Yeah. Everybody hurts sometimes. Everybody hurts someday. Yeah. But everything will be alright. Go with your voice and say, hey. Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not, 'cause the dreams bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Close to the ones here today.
the summer is gone, I'll be lonely, oh so lonely, living only to remember you. I'll remember you, your voices.
Gone are the days when my heart was young and gay. Sa-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Gone are the days when my heart was young and gay.